So with unlocking the power of Windows Vista at your agency, we are going to review quite a few things like I mentioned. First of all, can you use it yet? A lot of people don't know what the upside or the downside are, and we're going to cover all of those. Talk about core changes in Vista, maybe help everyone understand better why Vista got that that bad stigma at the start. Review user interface changes. Getting familiar is just going to help you navigate around that much faster and get more work done. Talk about power management improvements. There's been many of them, very beneficial for not only users with laptops and tablets, but for desktop users trying to just cut down on electricity costs. Something called Instant Search. We're going to review what it is, how it works, and how you can benefit from it. The new Sync Center. Many enhancements in security. We'll review those. Going to go over the new Internet Explorer, how you can make it work for you. Going to give some real detailed demos on how you can tune your workstations for the best performance when you're running Vista. And then actually show a little bit about Windows 7. So can you use Vista yet? Know that Service Pack 1 is out, and it's been out for quite some time. There were a lot of performance improvements in Service Pack 1. That's pretty significant because Vista right from the start had the stigma of being a quite slow operating system, especially on simple things just like browsing the network and copying files. But Service Pack 1 fixed those issues and has made it much faster, as well as a lot of application compatibility improvements. Microsoft stated that they've actually had the list of Windows certified programs grow to over 2,000 with that new Service Pack. Also, some of the reliability improvements are with things in the display where it's going to not have as many problems when switching around from sleep and power saving modes. A lot of stuff works better in 64-bit mode too if you do have a machine with more than 4 gigabytes of RAM. So since Service Pack 1 is out, Vista's really been ready for the mainstream. Hardware-wise, some things that are going to come into effect are processor speed. Obviously, you want the faster processor, the better. Vista's recommended processor is quite slow in compared to how it's going to actually work. We recommend a processor about 3 gigahertz or faster on the old generation, and of course, dual and quad cores are going to run great. RAM-wise, a minimum of 2 gigabytes going to be key, and recommended to actually get that out to 4. And hardware-wise, Vista had a lot of compatibility issues when it came out of the gates. And I'm sure everybody's seen the Mac commercials all the time talking about the problems that Vista has and things don't work with it. You've seen where the guy was walking around with peripherals taped to his body because they couldn't get him to work right. We'll talk about some of the core changes next, actually, about why those were issues, and most of those have been taken care of. Software-wise, to run Vista at your agency, if you're running AFW, you need to be up to version 5.4. In WinTam, you need to be up to version 9 something. If you're going to be running version 9 and you're not there yet, it makes good sense to go to 9.4. For the other systems, 360, Epic, some of the other ones, like NASA Eclipse, their current versions run just fine on Vista as well. So some core changes in Vista that I mentioned had a lot to do with that hardware compatibility stuff. The big one is a little techie term. It's user mode versus kernel mode. Basically what that is like the processing part or the guts of the operating system, that's called the kernel. So Windows has always had things called kernel mode and user mode where programs can talk right to the guts of the operating system. And then user mode is where programs are. When you run a program, it's running in user mode because you're running it as a user. Well, to make things more secure, because a lot of spyware and viruses were exploiting XP, Vista made so just about everything runs in user mode now. Well, all that really means for us is that everybody who writes information for a piece of hardware called a driver, so it would be HP with printer drivers, Canon with printer scanner drivers, and so on, any kind of hardware really, they had to rewrite their stuff to work with Vista, and that's a lot of work. So a lot of the old devices weren't compatible with Vista because they didn't rewrite their drivers to work in what's called user mode. So just know that Microsoft's making a lot of core improvements to make Vista more secure. They've kind of carted off these legacy things that they've had working for a long time, because eventually you do have to make the change. And Vista was secure by default, which also threw a lot of people off. As far as some websites not working, other programs not working, what it generally came down to is websites and programmers that took shortcuts had problems with Vista when it initially came out. Working a lot better now with Service Pack 1, like I said. Now, user interface changes. That's obviously the first thing that people see when they look at Vista. They said, "Oh my gosh, everything's different." So we're going to go over the user interface and make everyone feel a little more comfortable with it and unleash some of that power that's behind it. And the first thing you're going to notice is, well, there's no more start button. Well, it's kind of there. It's called the Windows button now, and it just doesn't say start, but it's in the same location. Works just the same way. When you hit it, you'll notice that you've got a drastically different start menu. You can switch back to classic mode, but I'll show in just our demo in a second here of all the different improvements in the new start menu can make you work a lot more efficiently. Something called Arrow. What Arrow is a new display theme for Windows Vista. It gives you a lot of advanced display things. Make things look better too. Because of the limits in the GoToWebinar software that we're doing our webinar on here, I can't actually show a live preview of Arrow, but I'll show some screenshots of what it actually looks like. Menu changes, especially in My Computer, Windows Explorer. We'll show you how to work your way through those. And then using the new control panel, similar to the new style in XP, just taken a bit further. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into our Vista user interface demo, and we'll show everybody the kind of things that we're talking about here. Okay, so here's our desktop. Don't be thrown off because the taskbar is on top. That's just personal preference of mine from something I've done from way back. But you'll notice, like I said, there's no start button anymore. But if you hover over it, it does say start. And here's the new start menu. Again, it is drastically different than it was in XP, but it's pretty intelligent. On the top, you'll see that whatever your default internet and email programs are, they're going to be there. If you don't happen to use Outlook and Internet Explorer, you can still have whatever your defaults are there. So it tunes itself to you. The list you see here, this is all the list of the commonly used programs. So I don't have to dig through the start menu to find those things. My list of programs is displayed here under All Programs. Gone is the multi-tiered menu, so you'll see when I click on a folder, it actually spans down. So you don't have this thing that ends up being the whole width of your screen and having to track all over the place, especially if you've got many programs installed like I do. You used to have to actually scroll to the right to see all the programs. Now you scroll up and down. So it condenses it and makes it easier to go through. Similar to the start menu in XP, on your right-hand side, you've got a lot of your shortcut folders. My Documents is now called Documents. It makes a new, like what's called a root folder now of your name or whatever your username is. So under that, you can see your documents, pictures, music, and so forth. You see, if I click on that folder, it takes me to all my stuff. So now it's not all buried under Documents. It's kind of all on par at the same level. And the neat part about this is you can have any of these folders point to other locations. What this most commonly is having your My Documents stored on the server. So you simply do that by right mouse clicking on your Documents folder and going to Properties. And you have this Location tab.